I lost nearly 20 kilos in 6 months, and 2 years after that, those kilos have never returned, and I don't plan them to. The reason I succeeded is not because I followed a magical diet, and this video is not about that, but because I managed to develop new habits that are now part of me, and because I completely identified and neutralized the old unhealthy habits that were hurting me. In this video, I'm going to focus on losing weight just as an example of how we can accomplish anything we want to if we first identify the bad habits and its triggers that are stopping us, and then develop new habits to replace the old ones, new habits that can change the rest of your life. Let me tell you how I did. One idea to keep in your mind is that you and what happens in your life are the result of your current habits. For example, the body shape and health I had before didn't reflect the pizza I was having occasionally, but the pizza and the sweets and the chips and the burgers and the beer I was having regularly in the last months or years, almost every day. The body and your health reflects if you exercise regularly or you don't exercise at all. We are the product of our daily habits that we repeat over and over again. So, if we repeat other habits instead, over and over, we will create a new direction and we will transform in that direction. Through repetition, we have the power of transformation. Let's focus on the example of losing weight to explain this really well, because you can apply this to any problem. My problem was I needed to know why I was overweight and which habits were not allowing me to lose fat. And this is what I found based on research and science. I had the bad habits of being easily stressed. I found out that it is scientifically proven that when we are stressed, the hormone cortisol is released, and when this hormone is present and active, it's impossible to burn fat. As simple as that. So even if you are on a diet or make a lot of exercise, if you are constantly stressed, you will not lose a gram of fat. So what's the solution? I needed to develop a new habit of meditation and awareness to neutralize the habit of becoming stressed. Meditation and self-awareness will help you to distance yourself from the stress and be able to process it better until it dissolves. So breathing, which is fundamental for any meditation practice, really helps and is also backed up by science. Breathing literally slows down the mind. It just works. Practicing meditation and self-awareness regularly as a new habit is like hiring a guardian to watch over you and acts when it detects stressful emotions or thoughts. The funny thing is that you start to identify more with this calm, strong guardian figure and less with the stressful emotions themselves. So you start to see the world around you through a third eye that looks at the bigger picture with a calm demeanor. I was having the bad habit of eating too often. Science confirms that every time we eat something, the fat loss is also blocked. This makes sense because fat is an emergency fuel. Many times I was eating not because I was hungry, but because I was used to, as a way to escape from anxiety. This is called emotional eating, and the sooner you identify this, the better. Solution? I needed to develop a new habit of eating only at certain times, allowing space between meals like 3 hours minimum. This involved the habit to be in peace with the feeling of hunger, which is the moment when really metabolic mechanisms are taking place to burn fat. So basically, I needed to develop the habit of not eating too often, not getting too full, and not having big dinners to allow those burning fat processes to happen. I was eating too many sugary processed foods with industrial vegetable oils without fiber. Nutrition science demonstrates that the quality of food is really important. And processed food with sugar content and highly glycemic index without fiber, well, these are easily digested and release high amount of glucose to the blood in a short time. Whenever there is a spike of glucose like this, there is a crash afterwards. And you will be very hungry again very soon. So it's like a trap many people fall into. Sugary foods and constant spike like this also inflame your arteries and organs, make you insulin resistance, which is the precursor of diabetes. And in addition to that, these spikes create some sort of brain dopamine dependency. So there is also an emotional eating component there that is going to make things really difficult for you to overcome. Solution? First, throwing away from a kitchen any product that was processed or contained more than 6 grams of sugar per 100 grams. And again, develop the habit of stopping myself whenever I feel like eating something too sugary or too processed. By repeatedly saying no to it even if I felt to, I was consolidating and reinforcing that habit every time more. Also, I put in motion a new habit, tracking what I was eating, so I was aware of the calories and the macronutrients. At the end of the day, this has again to do with self-analysis and self-awareness of the problem. I didn't sleep enough. Sleeping is very important to regulate your insulin and glucose levels, and it's proven that we lose fat mainly while we sleep. Solution: develop the habit of going consistently to bed at the same time, early, and waking up early. Waking up early also was helping me to cope with stress, because there is something really relaxing about waking up early and do the things I love in the calmness of the morning, because it sets a calm mood throughout the day. I wasn't exercising enough. Working in the movie industry as I do, I sit all day, and exercise can be an excellent motivator of good metabolic processes. Walking is the best thing you can do to lose fat. It helps with this regulation of those glucose spikes we were talking about, and also weight training as well helps for the muscles to burn calories even hours after you have trained. Solution: I needed to develop the habit of moving more, having walks in the early morning, going to the gym. Turns out that making exercise helps with sleep too. Okay, this is the difficult part. Now we have identified the bad habits and we know which habits we need to replace with and consolidate, but it's not easy to do this. Chances are we will fall into the old temptations, and many people really struggle with this and never cross this threshold of adaptation, which according to experts is about a couple of months of consciously repeating these new habits in order for them to stick. The key to succeed is to go through these 4 steps: awareness, motivation, action, and praise. Awareness. It's important to detect the trigger of our old habits before they actually cause the action we are used to. For example, if we have the habit of snacking chocolate, if we are aware and vigilant, we can detect we feel like snacking and be prepared for the next step before we start a bite. Motivation. Now that you have detected the old habit pushing, this needs to come to your mind. Here is probably where you want to remind yourself what you want to achieve. Increase your health, lose weight, live longer, be stronger for your family. The real why you want to change will help you to cope with the temptation. The third one is the action. Here's where we make a conscious decision to execute a new action. For example, being hungry now would trigger the habit of drinking water instead of snacking chocolate. Now, praise. The fourth one is the praise and reward, and this is important. You will feel a great satisfaction having conquered the old habit, and you need to praise yourself. It might feel like a small conquer, but you have put another brick into the new build. You should be proud of yourself and praise yourself every time. You can reward yourself with something you like if it helps you, but of course not with a cake. And the more you repeat this, the more you will neutralize the old habits and make sure new actions will be activated. This requires self-discipline, which is the ability to stick to a plan even if we don't feel like it. Like any other ability, it just requires repetition, and it comes from self-care and the willingness to change for better. I hope this example, even if you don't need to lose weight, helped you to understand the importance of identifying bad habits and its triggers. Research which ones you should replace them with, and how through awareness, motivation, action, praise, and repetition, you can install these new habits so they become part of your life. Through repetition and consistency, we have the power of self-transformation. It is the only way. Things won't happen in a day, but throughout the repetitive, small efforts of many days compounded together. Remember, you are the product of your current habits, and by changing them, you can change yourself. Write your comments below if this is useful for you, and remember to like this video, comment, share, and subscribe, because this will help us to keep on creating useful content for everyone. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.